Good afternoon. Today I'll be presenting Flee the Vashar for my solo pitch. So I began with my ideas. I wanted to work on 3 individual ideas and then sort of figure out what sort of struck me the most. I went with the player's country being invaded by another, and then sort of expanded on how I wanted that to unfold. So my idea is the Vashar have attacked this human colony to become a part of their evil sort of empire. The player then has to collect resources either the day before or during the evening when the raid is going on. My main inspiration for this was the Hitman games, having this very sort of stealth approach to the game. Equally, all of the option paths that you can get to sort of get to the same goal but following a different path along the way. So my scope and ethical concerns, I chose, it feels like a more male-based sort of game, but equally these days anyone can play games, it can be anyone's style. I feel like the theme of refugee and the journey of a refugee is a more adult sort of topic, so I think keeping it at 16 plus feels right for that. My core mechanics, jumping, crouching, sprinting, health, and I wanted to go for a visual style of sci-fi, because I didn't want to go for super realistic. I wanted to still have this sort of unique style, but then not really make it feel all too realistic. Some of the mechanics, crafting items to help you aid in your escape from the town, stealth-based sort of combat, taking down enemies, sneaking around the environment. I'd also considered, as I mentioned, an opening section where you can purchase items, which can then aid you in what you do during that night. So my character designs, this was for the human colony, more focusing on sort of exploration. This is a human colony trying to adapt to their surroundings, so they've got this sort of traveller, sort of smuggler sort of style. And then for the Vashar, I wanted to really dig into this sort of fear and sort of dominant style of an alien species, something that you would see and think, wow, these guys are terrifying, I need to leave. So, as I mentioned, I wanted to have these different methods of success, allowing for the player to have all these options. There's one goal, choose some of these options. These are some basic ones. One of the ones being barrel escape, one of my favourite ones, where the player can hide in a barrel and then sneak around past enemies who can obviously hear where the player is going, and then can just stand still, and the player has to keep moving to then escape. We've got the sewers, which is in a heavily enemy-filled area in this sort of like square sort of section, but once you get to the hatch, you can get into the sewers and escape. And then blending in, similar to Hitman, where you can take the disguise of an enemy and then wander around past some basic ones, but there are always some enemies who can sort of detect, see like, I don't know who you are, so where have you come from, and investigate you. Equally, this can then pair up with some other options, so simply just leaving, or even stealing the vehicle, as I mentioned before. For the levels, it's mainly going to take place in one level, which is the town. Obviously, other things like if there was the sewer, or maybe shop interiors or house interiors. An asset list, these are the big priority ones, and then the average ones being how they would aid in the different methods. For the project management, working in the agile method, where we plan for things and then we work on what we can do, receiving feedback, testing things out, and meetings and feedback on how we can improve what we've started on. For pre-production, creating a GDD and a paper-based prototype just to really get the idea across to begin with. And then in the alpha, focusing on the main parts, the very simple, the basics, and then for beta, improving, adding more to it, and then for the gold standard, actually finishing where we are, the vertical slice trailer. And that's it.
Yeah, well done, nice. you. And my final victim, who's going to do it? Is that Ethan? Tom. Lovely.